Brisbane with all the territory in the opening term, but unable to capitalise on the scoreboard. Now it's Carlton's turn with a slight breeze here at Icon Park. Great to have you with us wherever you might be watching. And there's an early free kick from a centre square infringement. It's going Brisbane's way. It's going to Jesse Keefe. Low trajectory kick towards half forward over the top of Campbell, who's been thrown forward in this second term. Egan, Jess Hosking, clever, gets around Bodie and delivers to Brazali. Blues are at their best when they can get it out in space and put together meaningful chains of possession. Stevens slides in. Did anyone touch that ball? Umpire said yes, they did, so it'll be a throw-in.
They do love to do that, don't they, Jace? They stretch the ground as wide as they possibly can. So with Brisbane really matching up pretty much one-on-one across the ground, they've limited their ability to do that.
They just haven't been able to get those possession chains going so far, the Blues. Let's see what they can orchestrate in the second term as Moody takes it out of the ruck. It's smothered off her boot. Stevens taps it down into the path of Dalton. Here is some run from behind from Egan, but she couldn't take it cleanly. Bates comes in to put some pressure on. Here's Maloney for the Lions. She's run down by Dalton, and that tackle will be rewarded.
Well done, Dalton. She got the hands out, quick skills, and then it was a second and third effort just here, just winning the ball back for the Blues.
Dalton goes for distance. Harris in the middle of that pack again, almost managed to bring it in. At ground level, it's slapped clear. Here's Downey for the Blues, can turn onto her right side, give it to Vesio. Darcy, usually a precise finisher, and this is no exception. So Darcy Vesio gets her 4th of the season, her 28th AFLW goal in her career, and an important one for the Blues, and they hit the front for the first time this afternoon. She's been spending a little bit more time up the ground this year, playing a little bit higher and working up to the wings and then turning around and using the space behind.
We are watching is the hashtag. Wherever you are, we want to see your photos. Probably the cutest spectator I've ever seen. The Blues, there's a lot of dogs in that kennel, but that is awesome. Darcy Vesio, what a cracker goal that was.
So the Blues with the lead for the first time this afternoon and looking to make a move and generate some momentum. This is the youngster, Grace Egan. She's been called to go, even though it didn't look like she walked off her line. Vesio, great contested grab. Wants to get up and move it quickly. Spots Brazali at the top of the 50. Brazali's got Harris and Downey as marking targets deep. Heads in that direction. Over the head of Downey, beautifully read by Anderson, who got back to take the defensive mark.
Just feels like over the first couple of minutes in this second quarter, Carlton have already really turned the game around and got it back on their terms.
Yeah, they're looking to pin Brisbane deep in their own defence, exactly as Carlton did in the opening term. Hosking back inside 50 again. Harris flies. Stevens tries to keep it alive, almost did. Another throw in.
And we speak about, Taylor Harris being a confidence player, but very much so is Darcy Vesio. So when she's got the ball in the hand, she's got the ability to do uncanny things. They just need to get it to her and keep her up and about.
Moody again out of the ruck, having a real influence in this game. That kick pitches just inside the line and out. And Brie Moody's had a fantastic season. 2 years ago, she won their best and fairest for the Blues playing in the ruck. Last year, she was sort of second ruck and forward as they switched things around and didn't really have a particularly great year. She set herself this year to reclaim the #1 spot. She's got an ambition of being an All-Australian player. She's had a great season. Here's Egan. Anderson's tackle. Here's Spark. Spots Wushner. Harrington will arrive a step too late. Play on the call. Wushner's mark paid. Ran off the line, chips the kick, but she and Postlethwaite not on the same page. Sarah Hosking cuts it off, and once again the chance for the Blues to pin Brisbane in their own defensive half. Hosking's kick in the Wushner direction again, and it's an important little hand in there from Harris. Got it to ground. A fumble from Dalton. It's taken to the line, and the stats don't show those little important hands in the marking contest, but Harris has had 3 or 4 this afternoon that looked like Brisbane were going to mark it. She's managed to get it to ground.
Yeah, and that's her ability to read the play, isn't it? If she recognises that she potentially isn't going to take that mark, she still makes an impact at that contest, brings it to ground for her Crummers.
Moody tried to get it to Prasparkas. Here's Bates. Handball intercepted by Loynes, was immediately tackled by Anderson. Umpire said it was a dumping tackle. They've paid the advantage, which was pretty quick, and Moody's missed. That was a lightning quick advantage, that one. Behind to the Blues. Zilke's long kick is marked by the fellow veteran, the young veteran at just 24, Emily Bates, playing her 30th AFLW game this afternoon. One of a bunch of players, I think there might be 14 of them, that are now going to be sitting on 30 games at the end of this round, which is a AFLW games record, as Bodie's held up.
And Emily Bates spoke during the week about just how important that foundation 8 is going to be for them. The 8 players that have been there since the start. They've played in a couple of grand finals, unfortunately haven't had that success, but those girls are the steady heads around the ground for those young girls to follow suit.
Precise kick from McAvoy. That was superb to find Downey, who was pretty well covered. She was in double coverage and the kick was perfect. Stevens at the back, does well against Lutkins. Squares it up to a dangerous spot. Here's Vesio one-on-one with Zilke. Ball hits the ground. Vesio kept her feet. Socket up forward by Harris. Walker taken out. Vesio lurking again. She's taken out of the contest. Lutkins wrapped up by Walker. Good pressure again from the Blues, but the Lions stand tall. Moody arrives to do the ruck contest against Hickey. Down to Vesio. Can't get the hands or feet free. Lutkins arrives. Solid hit on her from Sarah Hosking. Postlethwaite to Webb. Into the path of Anderson. G to try and close her down. Anderson kick towards O'Dwyer. Newpound was coming the other way. It was a really clever little tap onto herself. Pound did well. Won it at ground level. Good slick move there from Hosking to turn inside. Lalawifi. Little chip to Hosking, and once again the Blues can control it. This is Sarah. So all the players basically in the front half of the ground for the Blues. So Pound will now look to switch. She thought about the deep kick there to Wilson. You could see her just lurking in the corner of the screen. Decided it was a little too risky, so they'll take the more conservative approach, which is down the line. Jess Hosking still flirting with the idea of the switch, but in the end, we'll go towards Harris, and why not? She gets a clear run at it. She's hard to stop. Vesio in the square against Zilke. Heads in that direction. Walker pushes and shoves, and Brooke Walker saying, well, Maloney came back to close in on me, which he's entitled to do. Gives away a free kick. So Maria Maloney goes in the McAvoy and Wardlaw direction. Bodie. Umpire says a throw. It was a good tackle from Charlotte Wilson. So Bodie claiming she got the handball. Let's take another look.
Right call.
Touch and go, wasn't it? Didn't look like the fist made contact with the football. That's what the umpire saw as Wilson delivers inside 50. Harris on the lead, couldn't complete the mark. Again, well played by Webb. Anderson to Zilke. Over the head of Edwards, has got to track it back. Here's Bodie and Wilson arriving as well. Edwards a little flip out towards Egan. She's run down by Svark. Lions with some numbers around this one. Blues working hard to try and hold it in, but in the end, the numbers will win. Conway gets it on the boot. Lalawifi sitting back. Uncertain of her option. Draws a crowd. Pops a handball to Harrington. Harrington to Jess Hosking. And again, the Blues can set up from the wing.
And they've been so measured in their build-up from this position, haven't they? They take their time, they recognise the best avenue, the best option, and they've hit it in the last few occasions.
It's the improvement in skill, isn't it, Abs?
Yep.
They've been able to do things this year and execute things. There's a push in the back to Moody. That last year they tried, but they didn't have the skill level to hit those pressure kicks.
Absolutely, and you see that great improvement from Carlton, yes, but you see it across the league, don't you? It's every side is getting better in this component.
Moody, kick towards the pocket. Stevens keeps it alive. Pops a handball over the top towards the goal square. Here's the dangerous Pressparkas. She goes to ground. Vesio. She's pushed in the back. Was Pressparkas. And Maddie Pressparkas will get a free kick. And again, she's a classy finisher. 10 goals for in her AFLW career. And it's that last one. They did their best to stay out of her back, but in the end, gravity got them.
They did. It was that second contact, but Maddie Pressparkas, what a star she is.
Can she finish from the angle? Kicked 3 goals, 1 for the season. Starts it right, tries to work it back, but Misses across the face. So almost the exact opposite of the opening term. This time it's Carlton with all the territory, but unable to really put it on the scoreboard as Brisbane defend with all their might. Wushner, the quick release, it was a good one. Out into the path of Dawes, who steps inside Stevens, draws plain, pops it back to Wushner. Wushner now, over the top to Campbell, and O'Dwyer's out across the top. She can get to 50. Lalawifi going to try to run her down. Steps around one, steps around two, pops a little handball. Carlton's cavalry arriving. O'Dwyer, the pocket on her is closing. And the Blues do enough to shut it down.
Yeah, it was unfortunate there. She just didn't recognise that she had a player to the right-hand side, but nobody deep. So, yeah, she just couldn't see those jumpers for the Lions.
Prespakis had to wait on Harrington's kick, fed it to Downey, now Hosking, and Hosking to G. Goes back with the flight, takes the mark. She's got Walker down the line, Harris as well. She's got Vesio leading at 50. Goes in the Harris direction in the end. It clears the contest. There is Vesio at the back. Lutkins takes her down. Harris rides the Anderson tackle, gets the hands free now. Handball missed Egan. She tidies it up at 50. Heads in the Walker direction. Pitches and out. So 4.5 minutes remaining in this second term, and the roles from the opening term have been completely reversed.
They have. And Grace Egan, she's really upped her game in this second quarter. Such an important piece to this Carlton midfield.
So Downey in the ruck against Talia Hickey, the first game up. Downey the tap. Prespakis tries to track it. G links up with Edwards. Fierce handball for Egan, who's immediately tackled. No way out of there. Bodie and Spark shut her down.
We've spoken a lot about Egan. She's a Rising Star nomination, yes. She was a part of the Richmond VFLW Academy. Carlton made the bid, and unfortunately Richmond didn't match it. So I'm sure that they're kicking themselves now.
Brazali, Lug, it's tapped out from Plain to Prespakis. Prespakis, little kick on the left, misses G, who's lurking. It's tidied up by Lutkins. Just goes for territory, puts it out into space, but it's all Carlton out there. Harrington's going to have some time with less than 3.5 on the clock. She can assess her options. She'll go short and find Plain. So once again, patience from the Blues in this second term. They haven't blazed away. They've tried to navigate through this heavy Brisbane defensive zone. Plain's kick off the side of her boot. Well tidied up by Bates, who's got a little bit of time to give it to Wushner. Brisbane have got all their numbers back, which makes it really difficult when they do win the football. They've got not much to kick to down the ground. Plain. Pound. And Vesio, good contested grab. So Lions will be looking for a slingshot. There's basically only one player behind Vesio, and that's Pound. There's no one else in that half of the ground. So if the Lions can try to create a turnover, they'll be off to the races. But so far the Blues have been precise with their ball movement and have had coverage back. And this is Edwards delivering to Jess Hosking. So Jess Hosking, too far out to score, you would think. Gains 5 metres and finds Jess Edwards. Also beyond her range, so she will pop it up. Vesio will stay down. Spills off hands to Postlethwaite. Couldn't take it cleanly. G comes through. Edwards there as well. Little flip up from Edwards will be called a throw. And once again, Brisbane managed to win the ball back in their own defensive 50 with less than 2 minutes now left on the clock in the opening half.
Well, this is the issue for Brisbane, isn't it? They get the turnover, but every single player bar one, Keefe has just come onto the ground, though, is basically inside Carlton's 50.
Just about every player on the ground is in this quarter, as you can see from the wide shot. Wushner's kick was precise and needed to be. Finds Zilke. So this is what they're trying to do, set up for the switch, and they've done it really well here. Brazali, so important to get a hand in because Brisbane were away. It was almost the ideal setup. Brazali collapses in over the top of Maloney, gives away the free kick, but that was critical for Brazali to get that hand in because Brisbane had set it up perfectly.
They'd set up the switch, hadn't they? So it was a very professional free kick there by Brazali.
Maloney's kick over the head of Grider. Once again, it's Harrington back to tidy up. Links up with Lalawifi, who loves to get it and run. She'll poke it wide. Open space. Brazali can gather. Pop it over the top of Campbell to Vesio. Vesio back to Brazali. Will be run down. Needs to release. Arnell with composure to Lug. Lalawifi tries to get across to impact the contest. In the end, she ran into Jessie Keefe and was slow to get up as Harrington took the mark. There's a blocking free kick, and Mua Lalawifi still down behind play. It was a heavy collision. She runs straight into Keefe and then face plants, and wow, whacks her face straight into the turf as Dalton has it at forward 50. So 29 seconds left. Can the Blues find a target inside 50 or manufacture a crumbing shot here? Dalton pops it up. Harris comes out, couldn't bring it down. And Stevens immediately tackled by Bree Conan. So one last opportunity for the Blues as Lalawifi will come off, having hit her head on the ground, and the umpire
There's another one down.
Will hold up play because there is a player down. It's Shannon Campbell. So play will be stopped as Lalawifi is very gingerly making her way across the field from the far side.
Let's have a look.
So Campbell got a knee in the back from Harris and then headbutted the knee of Shani Webb on the way down.
It's a double whammy, wasn't it, that one?
It really was.
She hasn't moved either.
She's not in good shape.
Yeah, the doctor, as you can see, just trying to get as much information out of her as he possibly can.
And there's Mua Lalawifi in the meantime trotting to the bench. She'll have half time to have a concussion assessment if they decide that's indeed what is required. But at the moment, the greater concern for Shannon Campbell, who's upright now, sitting up, just catching her breath. And really the knee is exactly where the doctor's hand is there. The knee went in high up on the back and she just lost her balance on the way down and collided with Shani Webb's knee. So Shannon Campbell, you can see there a little bit of discomfort. I think that's coming from her back, from where she copped the knee right in the spine. You can see her there just trying to flex it, just saying something's not right there as well.
Yeah, well, it is nice here to be able to see her jog off the ground, but there's 13 seconds to go before half-time. The medical staff will have a good look at her.
So ball up with 10 seconds left. Can the Blues get on the end of it? Another free kick. Al Downey just coming in a little bit high, and once again the Lions through Shani Webb managed to hang on. And at half-time, it's Carlton by a goal. With 2 quarters to play in the semi-final, a spot in the prelim against North up for grabs. We've got ourselves a tough, tight, ferocious contest in difficult conditions.
It was a complete role reversal, wasn't it, Jace? We saw, I guess, Brisbane really dominate the game in the opening term, but just not able to really put it into scores. And we just saw that exact same quarter from the Carlton Blues. They had all of the play, all the action inside 50, but just couldn't make it count on the scoreboard.
Only one score to the right of screen in the first half. That was that 50-metre penalty to Taylor Harris. Brisbane scoreless in that second term as they pushed numbers back to defend against the breeze. The Blues managing to kick 1 goal, 2. Brisbane, as I mentioned, scoreless in that second term. Carlton were able to open up the game after half-time against Melbourne in very different conditions last week in Alice Springs. Head boundary side to M.